My husband cheated with my son's 18-year-old girlfriend, and that's when I discovered all his darkest secrets. So, I'm going to use fake names for everyone I mention here. I'm a 41-year-old stay-at-home mom, and my husband, who we'll call Paul, is 48 and works in finance. We've been hitched for almost 20 years and have two awesome kids, Eric, who's 18 and about to graduate high school, and Mary, who's 15. They're my absolute world. But, honestly, my marriage with Paul has gotten kind of blah over the years for a bunch of reasons, like his work hours and me not looking as great as I did when we first met. Anyway, Eric has this girlfriend, Amy, and they've been together since they were freshmen. He's totally smitten with her, and I've always kind of thought of her as family. So, what happened next just hit me like a ton of bricks. Last week, I accidentally saw a text on Paul's phone between him and Amy, and it seemed like she was saying she misses eating his sausage. I was shocked and spent the day convincing myself I misunderstood. But I didn't. Over the next few days, I found tons of BDSM porn on his computer and pictures of Amy from her Instagram. Nothing racy, but enough to confirm that something was off. I also peeked at his phone at the right times and saw more messages I wish I hadn't. I first stumbled across this mess when Paul was swiping through his apps. You know how on iPhones you swipe up to close them? Well, I spotted the messages that way. It wasn't like he was being stupid and just left it out in the open, he just forgot it was there while swiping between apps. Reading their texts was like a punch in the gut. My hands were shaking as I held his phone, seeing words that cut deep. It wasn't just betrayal, it was how they talked about me. He took all the insecurities I'd shared with him and turned them into jokes for Amy. They were making fun of me, comparing me to her, calling me fat and old. Even making fun of my clothes, saying I looked like a sausage in a dress. Amy just laughed along with him, using emojis and lols, like it was all a big joke. They even mocked my intelligence and interests, like everything about me was dull. One text from Paul said, "At least you're fun. Being with her is like living in slow motion," and Amy shot back with, "LOL, you need someone who can keep up, not slow you down." It was like I wasn't even a real person to them, just something in the way. With each message, I felt myself getting smaller and more insignificant. Seeing this side of Amy was a double betrayal. I had mentored her, and here she was, laughing at me with him. Closing the app, I looked at our family photos and felt the contrast between those happy smiles and their cruel words. It was in that moment, surrounded by the echoes of their laughter, that I realized Paul wasn't the guy I thought he was. It left me wondering how often they laughed at my expense and how often my pain was their joke. I'd always suspected Paul might be cheating, but I never imagined it would be like this. Last month, I found a thong in our bedroom that definitely wasn't mine, and it didn't belong to my daughter either. I tried to ignore it, telling myself maybe it was our daughter's, even though that made no sense. Now, not only is my husband cheating on me, but he's also betraying our son. I'm beyond devastated and can't even put into words the dread and shock I'm feeling. It's overwhelming, and I know I need to do something, but I'm scared of how this will affect my son emotionally. I don't even know how to start this conversation with him. I wouldn't wish this nightmare on anyone. I can't believe I married this jerk in the first place, and now I'm connecting the dots and realizing I noticed odd behavior from him right around the time Amy turned 18. She's been 18 for 5 months, but I can't tell when their affair started because he keeps deleting his texts. Was he just waiting for her to hit 18 before starting this? There's just so much to unpack, and I'm frozen with fear and confusion. How did this happen under my nose? Am I really that blind? Eric adores Amy, and the thought of telling him this awful truth scares me to death. I worry about how it'll hurt him and Mary, who are totally innocent in this mess. I haven't confronted my husband yet because I'm scared of the fallout, and I don't even know who to talk to first. I'm sharing my story not to get sympathy but to find some advice or understanding from people who've been through deep betrayals like this. Thanks for listening, everyone, and for all the support. I'm sorry if I haven't replied to your messages, I'm dealing with a lot. I'm trying to handle this strategically and stay safe. Telling my son was never something I planned to avoid, I'm just dreading it, but I know it has to be done. I'm playing it cool and gathering as much evidence as I can to prepare myself. I'm going to protect myself and avoid any harm coming my way. I'll update you with more details soon. Your support means so much to me. Update 1, my brother hooked me up with a tough lawyer. I saved screenshots of my husband's chats with Amy from the last 3 months on iCloud. They're full of flirty, dirty talk, totally gross, and some nasty comments about me. His call log shows he talks to her for hours at a time. He's even on dating apps, chatting with girls aged 18 to 22. I took screenshots of everything. He's been visiting sex chat rooms and spending loads of money on OnlyFans. I've searched the house for evidence and found toys, blindfolds, cuffs, and outfits like a schoolgirl uniform and a French-maid costume. I picked up Eric and Mary from school, and they could tell something was off. I gently told them everything and ended up crying. Mary was the angrier of the two. I also talked to Amy's mom, who confiscated Amy's phone and gave me their entire chat history, which was only 3 months worth, like they both deleted messages at the same time. Amy cried when her mom confronted her and says she's in love with him, that I'll never understand. Without going into too much detail, it's clear my husband manipulated Amy and took advantage of her rough home life, making her rely on him. Amy insists their friendship only recently turned physical. So lately, before all this went down, she mentioned that he was more of a friend and mentor. Anyway, I ended up confronting Paul over Zoom. As soon as I clicked join, my heart was pounding like crazy, and I could barely keep my hand steady on the mouse. When Paul's face finally appeared, I instantly knew this chat wasn't going to be chill. He looked all flustered, hair a mess like he'd been running his hands through it nonstop. His eyes were wild until they settled on the camera, and let me tell you, that look was unsettling. He was all red and sweaty, definitely not a calm vibe there. I tried to start the conversation calmly, saying, "Paul, we need to talk about what's been happening." But he cut me off before I could continue, going on about context, yelling loud and shaky, repeating it like a broken record without explaining anything. His hands were shaking too, clutching a pile of papers. I tried to bring up the messages between him and Amy, doing my best not to sound accusatory, hoping to keep things smooth. But it was like lighting a fuse. He yelled back, claiming I was making it all up, his face turning even redder. The shouting was so loud, I had to move my laptop back a bit. It was terrifying seeing him so unhinged, like he was a completely different person. I attempted to reason with him, mentioning the screenshots and how we need to figure out the situation concerning the kids. That's when he slammed his fist on the table, making the camera shake, and shouted about me trying to take the kids away. His words felt like a verbal attack. My hands were trembling too by then. I told him we needed to work something out, but he wasn't having it, accusing me of ruining everything. His face was practically in the camera, and I could see sweat dripping down. That's when real fear hit me. It wasn't just about cheating anymore, it was about the potential danger he posed. Seeing how aggressive he was, I decided not to reveal my location. As he continued ranting, I said I was ending the call and that we'd talk later when he was calmer. He protested, but I hung up anyway, heart racing. The screen went blank, and I realized just how serious this was. His reaction wasn't just defensive, it was explosive. So I called my lawyer right after, explaining the situation and asking for a restraining order. Clearly, this was about more than just heartbreak or betrayal, it was about staying safe. My lawyer's now filing for temporary sole custody of Mary and a restraining order. Mary's super mad at her dad and Amy, understandably. She's recalling times she'd seen her dad with her friends and is all twisted up about it. Eric's hurting too, but he's handling it really maturely, even wants to see a therapist. I'm so proud of how strong they are, they don't deserve any of this. Eric hasn't talked to Amy since all this came out, and honestly, I'm not sure if he will. I'm also making sure Eric and I get tested since who knows how many other women Paul's been with. As for Amy, her mom's been in touch, and apparently, Amy's threatening to run off with him because they're in love. We've told the authorities everything. I'm ready to be absolutely relentless in this divorce, reflecting on how I've been treated all this time. So, I've been feeling like just a shadow of myself because of this guy, and it's been messing with my self-esteem for 2 whole decades. I refuse to let this jerk get away with it, and I'm determined to reinvent myself and come out stronger than ever. Quick update, I can't thank everyone enough for the outpouring of love and encouragement. It really comforts me and means the world. Some folks have accused me of making this whole thing up, which is strangely comforting. It's like, wow, this whole mess seems so unreal even to me, and knowing that some folks can't even believe it's true kind of validates my own disbelief. I wish it was just a story. I've been so caught up in worrying about how everyone else is feeling that I've kind of been ignoring my own emotions, which I'm trying to change. One moment I'm furious, the next I'm completely numb, it's like flipping a switch. We're staying safe at my brother's house, which is super secure with alarms and deadbolts. Trust me, we're in good hands. This guy, Paul, keeps blowing up my phone, but no way am I answering. I'm letting my lawyer handle all that mess. Honestly, he scares me, but knowing we're safe here helps a ton. My son and I got checked out and tested, and so far, everything's looking good with the rapid tests. We'll know for sure once all the lab results roll in, but I'm pretty chill about it. I'm glad we've lined up a therapist for Eric next week. He's been through so much, betrayed by his dad and Amy, who was practically family. It's so much for him to process, especially at just 18. He's kind of shell-shocked, and even though he keeps a lot inside, I can tell he's hurting. Despite everything, Eric has been so considerate, always asking me how I'm holding up. It breaks my heart to hear him talk like he's way older than he should be, trying to be strong for both of us. But I can see it's wearing him down. That look he gives me sometimes, with a mix of sadness and determination, just isn't something a kid should have. He has no interest in talking to his dad right now, which I totally get. Paul only tries to contact me, not Eric or Mary, which is kind of a relief but also hurts. Maybe he doesn't know how to face them, or maybe he just doesn't want to. When Eric's dad comes up in conversation, there's this flicker of anger or maybe pain in Eric's eyes before he shuts it down. I don't have anything to say to him right now, he said, and just left it at that. I have this gut feeling that Paul is really nervous. If someone really digs into what he's been up to, he could be in serious trouble. That Zoom call with him was something else. The panic on his face was obvious, like his whole world was falling apart. I suggested Mary see a therapist too, but she wants some time to herself first. She's been chatting with her friends, asking if her dad ever seemed creepy. Turns out they did feel uncomfortable with him around. They said he stared a lot and was kind of hovering when they visited. One friend even mentioned he was checking her out, commenting on her yoga pants, which is so embarrassing now that I think about it. As for Amy, the reason I really wanted to update, I totally agree she's a victim too. Lots of people have pointed that out, and I'm doing everything I can to support her indirectly. I've talked to her mom, who's been keeping me in the loop about how she's doing. I'm sorry, but that's a long and complex text. Could you help me out by breaking it down into smaller sections? It'll be easier for me to rewrite it in a casual tone with more details that way. So, Amy's situation is pretty complicated right now. She says she's open to seeing a therapist soon, which I really hope happens since her anger is mostly turning into sadness. It's tough to watch, but her friends have been really important through all this, even though it's something Mary is struggling with too. People are pretty concerned about Amy, wondering if she and Eric still see each other at school. Turns out, they don't actually go to the same school anymore. They both went to the same junior high, but Amy later moved to an all-girls Catholic high school, while Eric and Mary stayed in the public school system here in town. During the summer before everyone started high school, Amy and Eric got to know each other and started dating. I wish I had better news about Amy, but things have gotten worse since my last update. After everything blew up, Paul has started seeing Amy again, despite her mom trying to keep them apart. Amy insists she's 18 and can make her own choices, which her mom is really struggling with. Her mom's frustrated and worried, telling me how Amy keeps saying she's an adult now and can do what she wants. Her mom is stuck in a tough situation. She's considered kicking Amy out for not listening, but fears that would just push her closer to Paul. Lately, Amy's been spending more time with him, even though at first he ghosted her when things got crazy. There are times when Amy disappears for hours. Her mom tried grounding her, taking away her car keys, and limiting her phone use, but Amy always finds a way around those rules. She's even sneaking out at night, leaving her mom to wake up at 3 a.m. to find her room empty. Her mom is certain she's with Paul, and it's a mix of anger and sadness watching Amy stuck in this toxic situation, thinking she's in love when she's really just being used. Paul hasn't changed, his patterns repeat, only the target is different. Feeling so helpless in all this is the worst. I've suggested therapy and talked about getting her professional help, but Amy's stubborn, convinced she's in love. It's heartbreaking and frustrating at the same time. There's only so much I can do, but I'm hopeful that things will eventually get better. Knowing what I know about Paul and what's likely to come, I really hope Amy gets the help and guidance she needs. Meanwhile, I'm just focusing on my own kids and taking care of my mental health too. Amy's mom knows I'm here to support her, and that's about all I can offer right now.